This video demonstrates the design of the roller support. So we're going to take a look together first of all at the drawing that we have at hand. So this drawing, if you start looking into it, you see there's a profile. I'm not a big fan of having so many radiuses, but this is something that if we can create design without the radiuses and then apply the corner radius or the filleting later would be better. So looking at this, it looks like it's symmetric. So definitely I'm gonna be having a plane of symmetry. All right, so this is how we're going to go about this. We're going to create the profile. We're going to extrude that profile. We're gonna create a symmetry with respect to the center. So we're gonna have these two pieces, and then we're gonna come on top, looking at this in here. This is the portion, and we're gonna create this shape and then go down with the 5 mm thickness. So this is how we are going to go about this roller support. Now let's go ahead and demonstrate some additional features today as we keep on building up our design capabilities. So this is going to be the roller and V01. And I am going to go ahead and save it somewhere like this, at least in case it crashes, at least we have access to it again. So let's go ahead and introduce geometrical sets today. So I'm going to be creating a plane and references. It looks like the dimension is 90 between them, so I'm going to go ahead and use this plane as a reference. So insert geometrical set. Yeah, of course, first of all, you need to insert geometrical set. And we're going to name this geometrical set as reference elements, and I'm going to drag the toolbars all the way until we get the plane. We're going to create, so the dimension is 90, so I'm going to create this one and move at a distance of 45, and I am going to create it as well at the same time but along the different orientation, so reverse direction 45. So now we're going to go inside this plane and I am going to create that profile. So it would be a good point to try to see where you want to create your center. If we create, so I see this point as very useful, or we can try to create this, you know what, let's use this fictitious point in here. So forget this 7.5. We're going to start with a point here like 110. We go up. I hope we have all the dimensions. If not, I mean, we'll come back and we will see, we will rectify it. We will rectify it live. So let's go ahead and bring this one down and click on the profile and start doing what might be the shape. So I'm gonna leave this activated for today, although I usually don't do that. I'm gonna leave it activated for today. So first we have almost 110, so it would be good to try to get as close as possible to it. So I can click snap on this, and you know, like it helps me to get on the 110. Then we go up. The dimension, it's not very clear for me. The dimension is how much we go up. It looks like it's a 22.17, but you know what, let's just take a 20 for now, something of the kind. Then we go at an angle of like 120 degrees approximately to some point in here. So let's keep in mind, oh, there is a symmetry. So there is a double symmetry. So we could have actually used, created one feature. So I just noticed that, but you know, like let's continue with the profile. And then we go up approximately vertical. Then we go, outside of this a little bit, go back up. I don't want this feature, this. Then we go all the way to some other place. We go down. We come here. Okay, so that's not very good. So let me turn off these. I don't want to create any of these functions here. And then come down here. All right, so that's definitely not what's supposed to be, but let's make sure that these are parallel, tangent. Uh, let's. So I was hoping that I can have no distance between them. So that's good. We can actually go ahead and move this in between here. All right, that's good. So, and of course, there's gonna be symmetry. We'll come back to this. Let's go ahead and start adding some, um, actually this is 110, some constraints. This is 110. So there are radiuses, and I want to do the radiuses in the end of 7.5. So I'm trying to figure out the dimension. This looks like this is the dimension, 22.17. This looks like this is the right dimension, 40.57. It doesn't look like I have this dimension. So we will wait a little bit to see if we can. So we have 100. So that can't, no, this is 100 from here to here. This is the profile. This profile overall from top to top, it's 109.39. So that can be helpful. So let's go ahead and put this dimension in. All the way from here to the top, we have 100. Where's this value? I just had it. 109.39. Okay, that would be useful. These are parallels. Anyways, these are vertical, so these are parallel. This dimension, no matter what it is, and this dimension, no matter what it is, this one's gonna be equal to the other one. So it would be useful to keep that as is. This, let's go ahead and also do the same for this dimension and this dimension. This is gonna be equal to this one. So this is what I would have saved by making half of it, but that's okay. And this dimension is, according to this, 22.17. So 22.17. All right, so apparently I did not have a vertical on this one. Yes, it would be better to make sure that it's not temporary. So this is a vertical, so this is good, it's starting to build up. Then we have a dimension here of 40.57. Let's go ahead and put that dimension in, and in here, and we can make that, let's make always on the left. We can make this one is equal to this, and we said the dimension was the value 40.57. All right, now let's put some angles. We have an angle from here to here equals to 120, and obviously we have the same angle from here to here. So this is starting to look good. These are equal dimensions, and let's put this in here. Okay, so that fixed it all. Now we have to make sure we have the right dimension. So this is 27.6. All right, this does not look right. Okay, this is 50. This is 50. That's 40.7. This looks right. This looks like we've got everything. So let's go ahead and verify all the dimensions once again. We have 110 at the bottom. We have 22.17. So later what we have is with the circles, and we can verify that from the other dimension. We have 120 here. We have 40.57 this value, we have 27. So basically this one is for sure right, because we have, this is a total of 109.39, and then we have that this dimension, and this one. So this one is left with whatever it has. So this looks right. Now we can actually come here and do the corner radiuses of 7.5 between. Oh, so actually we can do it here, or we can even like fill it the part from outside. So we can actually create them in here and like put if we want the dimensions, or we can create it outside. So I'm gonna click no on this and go back if it lets me. If it doesn't let me, it doesn't want to let me. Alright, double escape. Can always help double escape. Perhaps it was stuck something. I'm gonna leave it like this and I'm gonna do it from outside. I mean, it's just like how I wish I've noticed before to create just half of it, but it's okay. Now we have 5 circles of 12 that are, well, actually not really 12. We have two 12, we have one 15.6, and we have one 8.8. So let's go ahead and put this first circle here, and this circle is located at 12.5, 12.5. So let's go ahead and put this value 12.5 and another value from here to here equal, it would be better to click, equal to 12.5, and finally the diameter here of 8.8. All right, cool. So that's good. We can actually create an axis of symmetry if we wanted to. So we can come here like so that it selects the mid plane, and this is the mid plane. So this is like, did I do it right? Is there something wrong on here? 50, 50. This is right, the dimension 120, 24, 22. So why is this not um, vertical? Okay, double click, go back here. All right, let's try again, one more time. Okay, so we don't want this, we want a construction. So we can create a construction element. So this says that this is the midpoint, and we're going here to the midpoint. Okay, all right, yes, we didn't want to construct this. So let's make sure we remove all of these things and just do it once again, because we just want it for us to use for symmetry. So we don't really need like this element as it is. So I'm gonna click on this one and click as a mirror and select this. So this is gonna create what I need in here. Of course, you can fix it if you want, or you can, you know, re-add the dimensions. Make sure not to forget that. So what did I do? What did Rami do? Okay, so it did take with it some dimensions, like the diameter and this distance. All right, so it is sufficient to add just a distance here, and that would be okay. All right, we're gonna have a circle that is centered in the middle, 24 distance with, so actually we can click this, we can do this, and we select dimensions again. So of course, the beauty of making this in a video, this means that you have access to pause whenever you want, and to you know, to relook at this and make sure that you can get it right. So take your time, don't feel pressured. So this point is 24, but for some reason it doesn't want to take it from the middle, so we can as simple, okay, let me show you something fun. Let's do something fun for the sake of it. And so I'm gonna put this dimension, but instead of me saying this is 55, I'm gonna say this is always at the middle. So this is equal divided by 2. So it is 55, but look at this. If I make this one 200, it will stay at the middle. Like the whole design will move with it. So going back to 110, this is what we have. All right, now we have another circle somewhere here. That circle, ooh, we don't want to create problems 15 from here, and it is center. So I'm gonna redo the same trick because this is just awesome. So I am going to create a constraint from here to the center here, and I'm gonna say, you know what? This is always equal to this one divided by 2. So that will, you know, help me out. And then from here to here, this is gonna be equal to whatever is the dimension here, 15. Hey, that was close. And finally, the diameter that is equal to 12. All right, symmetry once again, we can select this, click mirror, get it here. So this is good, this is good. What's still missing is the distance from here to, well, I mean, sometimes you can cheat and just click fix, and you can, I mean, of course you want to be in temporary, but I mean, I don't really like that. So what we will do is we will just do from here to here, and we'll say this is 15, and we are all good. All right, so this is perfect. This finishes up this first step. We're gonna go out from here. If we have done it right, this will help us create, I mean, the sketch would be, we can pad it. And all right, so this is, so we have to make sure that this sketch is in the part body. So sometimes when you create reference elements, you get confused. So this is very important. We're going to be talking about Boolean operations at one point. All right, so this is good. It is extruding, I think, to the wrong orientation, reverse direction. Yeah. So we want it towards this, and it was a thickness of, what was the value? 5. All right, so we have a 5, and we have this part. So before we actually create the symmetry to the other side, let's go ahead and select those edges and create this 7.5 across. So instead of us worrying about this dimension and trying to make sense of it, well, it is as simple as I'm pressing Control and selecting all of these edges, and what we're gonna do is we are going to fill them with a radius of 7.5. All right, this is the fillet features. These are the dress up features in here. So in here you can, where is this? Here, dress up features. You can have like shells and whatnot. So we're gonna make an edge fillet for all of them, and the value is 7.5 radius. Click preview, and here we have it. All right, awesome. So we have this part. Now we can go ahead and create you know, like the mirror of this whole part. So we're going to click on mirror. We're gonna mirror all of this with respect to this plane in here. And look, it's beautiful. Click OK. How awesome is this? So let's save so that we don't regret it a little bit later in case it crashes. So now we have the two sides. All we are left with is the creation of the top part. So this is what we have to create. So we have 100 from here to here, so we have a 90 from here to here. So basically this is nothing but a 60 by 90 centered rectangle at the top, and then we create those corners, these corners in here. So it's a fillet of 12.5. Let's do it this way, that's the quickest. So we're going to click on the top surface here and create a sketch. So this is where we are. So let me make sure that, okay, this is where we are. So we need to be in the center plane. So like I need the center of all of this. Actually, do I really need the center of all of this? I'm not really sure. So it can be useful to look at this, and so this is where we're gonna be in the center, and we can get reference elements. So let me do that this way. So I'm gonna select these two elements, I'm gonna project them, bring them to my curve, and then I'm gonna make them construction elements. Then I am going to keep it as construction elements and go to the midpoint, So sometimes, I mean, you create reference elements like this that would help you out. The reason why I did it this way is because I want to demonstrate also another feature. So I've been thinking that I want to show you this. This is one of my favorite. It's called centered rectangle. So basically, I'm going to click on this and I'll select the middle of this here and look at how, okay, so of course we're going to remove this. Look, and we're going to remove this, and we're going to remove this. I don't know why it's still showing a construction element. So let me remove this so that it shows it to you the right way, because we don't want it to be construction element, and we want it to create automatically all of these elements. Here we go. And we stop somewhere here. So this is a centered rectangle, which means all I have to do right now is change this dimension to, what was it, 60, and I'm done, because it took the dimension from here to here. So if I want, I can just close. This is my 60 by whatever is the dimension, I mean, from here to here. I don't care because I created it the right way. I can pad this. Of course, I'm gonna click previews to show you this mistake. I mean, this is going up. What you really want is to reverse the direction and make sure that you create it the right way. And then here we are. Now all we have to do is select these edges. So once again, Control and here. So now all we have to do is come here and put a nice fillet of, what's the value? 12.5 millimeters, and we're done. And we can click isometric view. This is the dimensions, and I don't know if we missed anything. I don't think so. This looks perfect. It sounds like I'm giving myself a tap on the back. All right, so just to demonstrate one other thing that can be useful is once you apply materials. So if you want to click in here and apply material on your roller, so let's say you use whatever we want to use. How do we feel like? Let's use gold. So let's say you use gold. You can remember you can shading with material in here, so you can see like the reflection. So I want to demonstrate two things. All right, the first thing is, we've talked about it before but not enough, is this feature, measure inertia. We have designed something. Now it can tell us like its weight, like this is the mass, it's gonna be 2.289 kilograms. This is the density, the area, so all the area that's contact. So watch out where I clicked. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and do a very common mistake. I'm gonna click at the surface in here, and all the data that is showing now to me is for the surface. So you have to make sure to select the part so that you can have all the elements that you want. So that is the first thing. The second thing is this, the feature where you can render the object. So basically you can actually click on render. Of course, now it's going to go for a little bit of time to create the part, and most probably I'm gonna just accelerate the video after this. But this is a demonstration of how you can render and create a part with certain visualization. So let's say this thing you want to, you can upload whatever you want, but let's say this is something that floats or whatever, you can actually put it on a lake. I feel like I'm in a Star Wars movie now. Here we go. And you can play with the lighting. You can say like you want this lighting or that lighting or whatever, and we click OK. We can define where you want to render so that you don't spend half a day rendering, and then you can select on the properties and then you click render, and now it is computing and it is creating the graphic for the rendering of how it would look like in the current position. And of course, once it finishes, you can save it, and let's put voila. and I'm gonna put it here in 509 like this. I would save it for later, and that ends up the demonstration. I am going to click on it and show it to you. So this is like the render of the part that we created with the resolution that we wanted. Of course, if you were doing something of the kind and you're like sending it to someone, you would select a much bigger space, and what you would do is you would come here and you can change the quality, like you want it high, you can create how many DPI you want, and so on. So you can play around with all of this. All right, cool. That ends up the demonstration for our part, and thank you very much for listening to me.